Hello everyone, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, maybe good night, whatever time it is for you when you're watching this video. My name is KandyCorpse, you can call me Kay, and I'm going to be reading some more paranormal experiences, paranormal encounters, and just because I'm bored and I have terrible insomnia, I can't sleep. So, why not read paranormal stories in the very early hours of the morning rather than trying to get some more sleep before work? I say more. There was no sleep. Anyway, as usual, if you've seen these videos before, you're going to understand these next few seconds. If not, I'm just going to explain. I go on Reddit and I usually read 2 to 3, depending on how long they are, creepy stories. These are supposed to be real encounters that people are posting online, just kind of to get other people's opinions, or even just to say kind of something that happened. Maybe they're not looking for advice, they just need to get it off their chest because they don't really have anywhere else to say it or don't have anyone else to talk to. And that's all we do here. We then go through the comments and people comment under this video what they think of some of these encounters, and sometimes we look at evidence too. So let's jump right into the first story, shall we? So this first story is pretty short. It's just titled Creepy Giggle. All of these stories are going to be from the Paranormal Encounter subreddit. This story is by Bitter Marsupial 942. So this reads, so the other day at around 10 p.m. my husband and I were on the couch in our living room doing sexy time activities and we heard a giggle come from the kitchen. It sounded like a little girl giggled. Our dog went nuts and ran over there. My husband checked every room and saw nothing. Our 4-month-old was sleeping in his crib and we didn't hear it come through the monitor, so it wasn't him. I haven't necessarily felt anything off in our new house, but that has definitely sketched me out. What are your thoughts? Okay, so a little bit of context would be nice, but something we did catch is that they said it is a new home. So, and they said 4-month-old, so I'm assuming that is the only child that they have. Because of course, first thing you would think is oh, maybe it was a kid, but they said that it's their 4-month-old son and that it didn't sound like that and it didn't come from the monitor. A thing that I hear a lot of people say is vents, especially in houses, depending on how old they are, things like that. Vents can carry sound, so sometimes you can hear something, so maybe the baby giggled from another room and the monitor for some reason didn't pick it up, or they just didn't hear it on there. But that would still be very strange to come from the monitor. And I don't know, the whole vent thing, that's the only thing I can think of to really explain something like that. But for 2 people to hear something and for the dog to react, that's kind of crazy. So the top comment says, the dog confirmed it for you. And the response to that was, no, for real, my dog is perked up to a voice in my house that my grandmother died in before. And this is what sealed the deal for me. Any dog that's what the hell was that in the face of spooky things is a good boy. Another comment says, I would definitely trust the dog. I had an old house in Pennsylvania and heard children giggling on occasion. It would happen while I was on the 2nd floor and the noises would come from the first. I did not have a sense of dread, but it creeped me out nonetheless. Someone commented, I like to find alternatives to the paranormal and I'm going to say it might have been your fridge. Mine makes all sorts of weird noises and they can vary. I'm not denying the paranormal, but I'd feel more comfortable being at home if I thought the next time I hear a noise I could say it was the fridge. When I was younger, I'd heard a laugh. It was a witch's cackle. It freaked me out, but people can have audible hallucinations, so I'd put it down to that. And then OP responded, that's my husband's thinking, which I 100% appreciate since I'm home alone at night. In parentheses, he works 3rd shift. And someone responded to that saying, my dishwasher sounds like a person heavily mouth breathing when it's on a wash cycle. I don't have a dishwasher, so that just was funny to me. I've had to confirm it many times when I'm home alone, otherwise I'm thinking I'm not alone. My fridge makes noises, and the ice maker cracks every now and then. I have a grandfather clock. Our floor is creaky even when no one is walking in it. I have doors that don't close properly until I push it close with force as well. It would be very hard to tell if my house was ever haunted. There are more comments than that, and even though this is a very short one, I'm not gonna go through all of the comments. Um, but it looks like it seems to be a mix of it's probably an appliance. Well, people hoping it's an appliance, and people saying that it's definitely a ghost. So I don't know, but I know so the whole auditory hallucination thing, I definitely have had times where I've heard things. I've heard voices, or like that kind of said makes like an audible breath sound. I've heard stuff like that too. And I like turned around quick and there was nobody there, nothing there. So it was definitely creepy. And I always chalk it up to I'm just hearing things, but it's definitely happened to me a few times where I've heard something or like felt like a breath down my neck, and it's very unsettling. Like, even if it's just a trick of the mind or you hear something and your brain can't quite comprehend what it is, so it kind of just jumps to certain conclusions. I don't like that my brain does that. I don't want to jump to creepy conclusions. And I think that's part of the reason why, when it comes to paranormal stuff, my very first instinct is to find an explanation, because I don't want it to be something that will make it already harder for me to sleep at night when I'm doing this at 7 in the morning because I just never fell asleep. Like, I already have insomnia. I don't need anything scary to make it worse, to make me stay up even more than I already struggle to. So the second one actually looks like it's really long. It's called We Both Saw the Lady with No Face. Okay, so this one's kind of long, so I'm just gonna get right into it. This was when my sister and I were younger, her being 8 and I 10. We used to live in a 2-bed/2-bath apartment. I remember always feeling uneasy and just seeing things from my corner of my eye. We watched a lot of Ghost Whisperer as a family of 3 back then as well. Well, one night I remember abruptly waking up from my sleep and shooting straight up in bed. It took some time for my eyes to adjust, but I vividly remember seeing this all white figure. It was shaped like a woman, and it was a bit transparent as well. And from what I could tell, she wore an old Victorian style dress, the ones they made that made the butt more pronounced. And she held an umbrella that looked to have had lace on the trimmings. It was such a vivid sight that I think about it every now and then. Anyways, I see her gliding to my sister's part of the bed, and she's bent down slowly. It was almost barely noticeable. Now she was face to face with my sleeping sister. I remember fixating on her empty face. There was nothing. As I'm trying to find a slight facial feature, I just felt like she wasn't even looking at my sister at that point, but me.
Huh?
I don't know if you heard that, but my cats are, I don't even know what they're doing, but they make a lot of noise sometimes. So if you're hearing bumps and thuds, I don't know if my microphone will pick it up because it's so close to my face, but they're loud. They're loud. So if you hear it, that's what it is. It's my cats. Bro, stop. Anyway, back to this story. I just felt like she wasn't even looking at my sister at that point, but me. She stayed in that position, not budging even the slightest. I remember feeling panicked, almost like I wasn't supposed to witness what I've seen. I remember feeling as if time had stopped whilst I was trying my best to go unnoticed and laying back down, and once I was, I immediately pulled the covers over my head just in case she planned to be face to face with me as well. I didn't want to wake up seeing that. Once the morning came around, I wanted to ask my sister if she heard or saw anything the night before. I was really conflicted with her being so young. I didn't want to scare her, but I had to know. I said something along the lines of, "Did you wake up in the middle of the night too?" And I shit you not, she told me she was scared to tell me there was a woman who was just staring at me. I had asked her to describe the woman, and she gave me the same description. All white, puffy bum dress with an umbrella, and of course no face. I had asked her to tell me as much as she remembered. She told me she woke up shooting straight up in bed and looking at my side and seeing the woman already bent down face to face with me. She said she felt the woman was nice because she felt in no harm for me or her, so she simply turned over and went back to sleep. Of course I was freaked out. by what my 8-year-old sister had told me, because until then I really was thinking it was because of the ghost shows we constantly watched together. We spoke about it a while ago, and she said she still remembers how this woman looks as well. There's only a couple comments. Top comment is, "Wow, thank you for sharing. This sounds really scary. When I was 13, my sister says she saw a Native American in full color standing behind me once. She said it just stood there staring at her. I never saw him, however." And OP responded, "That's even scarier." And the other comment on the post says, "Faces are overrated." I feel like I wouldn't be as scared if there was no face, but then again, at the same time, it's also kind of like your mind will kind of just pick what the face looks like, and I don't know, but I feel like if I saw something looking at me and it didn't have a face, I wouldn't be as scared, but I would be anxious that it's just because I haven't seen its face yet, and it's just waiting to show me its face to give me more of a scare. So even though it wouldn't be as scary at the time, I feel like I would have more anxiety if I woke up and there was something there but there was no face, because why can't I see your face? Like, why aren't you showing me your face? Am I going to wake up to something even more horrible later? This last story for today is titled, "Heard Someone Calling My Name Out Loud." 2 months ago, one of our old relatives visited us all of a sudden with prior information. It was a day when it rained heavily. When she reached our home, she was dead tired, but somehow managed to move around before going to sleep. Meanwhile, we all, quote, my family of 5, had some conversations with her, and she acted very normal. And then we all went into our bedrooms to sleep. After the midnight, it was around 3 to 3:30 a.m., my mother heard a loud voice of someone inhaling with difficulty. She rushed to the other room where this aunt was asleep, and she saw that the aunt was struggling to breathe. My mother gave her some water and ran to the kitchen to get some milk for her. Then my dad got up and went to check on my aunt. Around 3:50, my dad knocked on my door to wake me up, and when I went outside I saw my aunt was almost unconscious but breathing out loud. Long story short, she died of cardiac arrest. After 2 months, yesterday, while I was in the kitchen doing something, I heard somebody calling my name out loud, and I was standing at the same spot where I had my first conversation with her on the day prior to her death. When I looked behind, nobody was there. After an hour or two, I was sitting on the bed, and suddenly I felt that someone grabbed my waist from behind. Then again, there was no one. I'm confused as to what kind of feeling this is. Any suggestions or experiences similar to this? So the top comment says, "She's probably trying to communicate with you. She missed out on confessing something, and for her to rest in peace, all you have to do is ask her what she wants. You'll probably want your mother or your father with you when you ask, just so you don't think you're crazy." Another comment says, "I have also heard people calling my name and heard footsteps near the door of my room late at night. When I peek my head out, there's nothing there." Someone commented, "Hands on hips grab your waist, or arms wrapped around you type of feeling." And OP specified only hands on the waist, and it felt like they grabbed hard. Another comment says, "I would guess she's letting you know she's okay. Either that, or she wants you to know where she hid all of her stocks and bonds. Joking aside, I'm very sorry for your loss and that you had to experience that." OP responded, "It was very scary when she died in front of my eyes. Till date, I completely remember the way she was struggling to breathe." And the person said, "I'm sorry for your loss." Someone commented saying, "Auditory hallucinations can be brought on by stress. That's probably what you were feeling." And then there's like an argument coming from that, where someone is like telling them that they shouldn't be in this subreddit. I'm going to ignore that because that's none of my business. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed any of these stories, or you enjoyed just sitting down and talking with me and reading these paranormal stories with me, definitely give this video a like, and comment if you have any thoughts or opinions, maybe some experiences of your own that relate to some of these stories that I've read today. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.